Hi, and welcome to Memphis Makers. I'm Luciano. Today, we're going to find out why it's so important to learn, and I'm talking about continuing your education. I have guests here with me from Southwest Tennessee Community College. Dr. Jacqueline Taylor is Executive Director of Retention and Student Success. That's a big job. And then we also are lucky enough to have Mr. Ed Lyons, who is the past president of the Foundation's Board of Directors. Welcome to Memphis Makers.
Thank you.
We are so glad to have you all here. Now, do you want to talk about your positions for a little bit before we get into it?
Absolutely. And let me just first say again, thank you for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We're excited to be here to talk about the Foundation Board and our scholarships, our student success, and wraparound support services for Southwest. So it really is a blessing to be here. In my position, I have the honor and privilege to serve students as the Executive Director of Retention and Student Success. So what does that mean? Once a student is enrolled at Southwest, it is my job, my team's job, to make sure that they stay and matriculate well, have all the services they need so that they can graduate. Students spend about 90% of their time outside of the classroom, and so our support services come around them and support them out of the classroom to make sure that they're on the right path to graduation.
How smart. That is just brilliant. You went to college, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, but seriously, I mean, I didn't really think of that as being where to start with helping people in school, but you're absolutely right.
When you think about support services, a lot of people who aren't familiar with higher education don't know about all the different departments. We have professional academic advisors that actually advise students toward their schedule every semester. We have academic support, online tutoring, walk-in tutoring. We have mentoring, Veterans Affairs services, testing services, career services, right? We want to support them in matriculating and getting that first start in the real world for their professional experience. Student disability services, student development, counseling, and mental health services.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
So you have a really big, you and your team have a really big job. But of course, you're supported by the Foundation.
Absolutely.
So you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, the Foundation is a 501c3, it's a mouthful, which is the IRS code that says if you donate to us, you get a tax deduction. You can take it off your taxes. And our goal is to support the mission of the college. So we all are kind of the scaffolding that help Dr. Hall perform the mission of the college, which is focus of student success, and that's graduating students. So along those lines, what the Foundation Board does is primarily we advise the president of the college. Dr. Hall may or may not want our advice sometimes. We raise funds, which is one of our big functions. We do that to build facilities, which we did in my first 4 or 5 years with the board. I've been on the board since 2007, and now we're focused on processes and making sure the students achieve success. Our fundraising runs a gamut from talking to individuals to events to doing what is necessary to get the money ready to help those students, and the focus is on getting that money to the students in the form of scholarships.
So that was what prompted the need for a foundation?
Yes, the foundation was formed in 2000. It was formed because many of the students who come to Southwest are economically disadvantaged. They're challenged. Many of them are they're the first in their family in any generation to go to college, to even attempt to go to college. It can be a very challenging affair, and Jacqueline's already talked about some of the programs that the school has to make sure that those students get assimilated. And what we do is come alongside the school and try to provide money in the form of scholarships to help those students that don't can't afford to do some of the things that are necessary to graduate from college.
Okay.
There,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's a number of programs now that students can get aid into college. Tennessee Promise, Tennessee Reconnect, Hope. But all of those have little donut holes in them, some places in them. And the foundation, what we try to do is come alongside the college and provide that funding necessary to get across the finish line for the students.
What you're talking about, these programs, this is the program that says anybody can go to the two-year community college for free.
That is a true statement of kind of as far as it goes. But and Jacqueline may expound more on this, but there are some holes people don't fit into the mold or into the template that you need to fit into to become eligible for those scholarships, and that's where we come in.
So Jacqueline, if you're like 60 years old, you'll find a way?
Absolutely. With Tennessee Reconnect, all you have to do is file the FAFSA each year. You have to maintain a 2.0 GPA, and so when we talk about those donut holes, academic progress has to be maintained throughout matriculation. Students have to stay enrolled at least 6 hours, and so when life happens, something happens with the family, transportation breaks down, and students lose those scholarships for whatever reason, the foundation really comes in to provide that additional support with scholarships, whether it be books or the student emergency fund. So Southwest has really done a good job to think about the whole student and their needs.
Well, and like Ed was saying, that many of these students are first timers, the first ones in their family, and so that makes it even more important that they have a very good experience and B, complete that experience to find success.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to have professional staff on board to advise students, and that's why we now have case management where students have an advisor, a financial aid specialist, and an enrollment specialist assigned to them from day one, because students sometimes don't know the right questions to ask, and we're here to make sure that they're asking those right questions and we're guiding them along the way.
Yeah, it's important that the students know to ask, that it's not hopeless. So many of our kids that we hear about, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but hear from talk about they were at their wits' end. They didn't know how they were going to complete school. They were the baby had gotten sick, the mother had gotten sick, family members had lost jobs. They didn't have the money and the resources to complete, and it's important that they come forward, that they know to come forward and ask for support. And then our job is, when they do come forward, is to try to find a way to facilitate getting them the resources they need to complete.
So there are a lot of challenges along the way that people have to face in order to finally get that degree.
Absolutely. We understand that life happens. Many of our students are adult learners. They have dependents. They have part-time jobs, full-time jobs. And so we can't just ignore those challenges if we're going to live up to our mission to really educate a diverse community like this community here in Memphis. We are so excited to have this partnership with the foundation, because when we make those referrals, we have a social services coordinator that reviews those needs. If it's an electric bill that needs to be paid because a student bought their books and now they're looking at a situation where they won't have lights on to study, they can apply for a student emergency fund and we can support them up to $350.
Wow, I didn't realize all of that.
Yes, yes.
There's several scholarships they can apply for. We tend to focus on those that have got a little bit of a proven track record, which may mean they've completed a year, but now they're on that final 1 year 2 semesters, how do they get across the finish line? And one of my passions is the book scholarship, which if you're mature like I am, went to school some years ago, you used to go to the bookstore and buy a used book for $20, the one that was underlined, so all you had to do was study the underlined part and you could get through. But now with information and knowledge expanding, textbooks are just rewritten all the time. And modern textbooks for technical courses, especially in the nursing schools, can cost $300 to $500 a book. So that could be easily $1,000, sometimes $1,500 a semester, and that to a lot of students.
Just the book.
Just the books. So that can become a bridge too far for many students. And if they know to come forward, we are working now to. I think it's the $500 limit, but we're working to up that so that we can help students keep up with the books that they need and graduate.
So how does the foundation raise money?
Well, we have several different methods. We've had some big events in the past, golf tournaments. We're contemplating additional big events, but primarily we like to do the one-on-one. Our board members, I didn't mention this, that are civic leaders, they're business leaders, they're officers in their companies. Many of them are entrepreneurs that know other business leaders. So we use the board members and other ways to get in front of people and talk to people one-on-one about contributing either through the company or they're individually to raise that money. So big events sound glamorous, but they are very resource intensive as far as time and the staff's time and money. So we like to concentrate more on the individual, person-to-person or person-to-company to gather our funds. And I would say the Memphis community has been very receptive. FedEx, I got into the business by another VP who was the president of the board at the time, an alumni of Southwest. I think it might have been Shelby State, even. I don't want to date her. No,
we're dating ourselves, but hey, it was important then too.
Yes, they wanted to build a new nursing school, which was desperately needed to fill the need for nurses of the future, and we looked at FedEx to donate $2 million of that, and a lot of credit to FedEx executives who decided, this is back in the hard times of 2007 when profits weren't so good, they committed because they realized that a viable healthcare services industry was just imperative to retention and recruiting and retention at FedEx. And so we donated that money and then created this nursing school, which is state-of-the-art, produces nurses, and I believe still has the highest pass rate for the Tennessee nursing exam in the state of Tennessee, for all the Tennessee universities that produce nurses.
See, and people want to be part of what's successful.
That's correct.
There you go. I mean, we're lucky to live in a city that has the generous nature that Memphis people do have. I mean, because Memphis hospitality is just the best. I don't think you can find any better hospitality anywhere than right here in Memphis. But to have that, and then to have people see how all the corporations like FedEx that you were talking about have stepped up to help, makes others want to be part of it, doesn't it?
It does. And I don't want to, of course, I'm biased toward FedEx because I worked there 36 years, over 36 years. But there are many, many companies, large and small, that step forward and contribute. And especially once they hear the stories and know how the money's going to be used, that, we're not, I'm a sports fan, but we're not building a football field. We're building something that is going to change students' lives.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that. We recognize that our community has responded so well in donating to the foundation. But our Southwest faculty and staff and administration also donate. When I first arrived at Southwest a couple of years ago, I realized that a lot of my colleagues were experiencing loss in their families, and we came together to figure out how can we honor our colleagues' relatives in their memories. And so we actually, as a team, agreed to offer in memoriam donations to the Student Emergency Fund. And so we acknowledge and remember those we've lost, but we also at the same time help our students matriculate and get through their college education.
Wow. Wow.
And you talk about a feel-good moment.
Yeah.
And I've had colleagues just to come by and say, I got my letter. And thank you for remembering my brother. Thank you for remembering my mom. Thank you for remembering my sister. But they also know that a Southwest student is going to be able to continue because of that as well.
That's wonderful. Let's take a break. Don't go away. We'll be back. And we're going to talk to Dr. Taylor and Mr. Lyons some more. We'll see you in a minute.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Welcome back to Memphis Makers. I'm Allie Luciano, and we are here with Dr. Jacqueline Dr. Jacqueline Taylor and Mr. Ed Lyons. Okay, and I'm supposed to call them Ed and Jackie.
That's
okay.
Right.
So
That's
we're going to do that.
perfect.
We were talking about the foundation and some of the ways that you helped whenever we left, but I wanted to talk about that Southwest has an economic footprint that they put on this area.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about that, Jackie?
We're so excited at Southwest. We had an economic impact study done in 2016 by MC. They partnered with us. And what we found is that our students and alumni, they live, they work here, they spend their dollars here, and we pack a very big punch economically, $126 million a year.
Wow.
And so when you talk about the community's college, we are definitely that. We are the second largest college in Memphis. We have 2 campuses and 5 sites. We serve approximately 13,000 students each year. We ranked number 1 in Tennessee Reconnect applicants this year. We ranked number 3 among area colleges for return on investment. And we ranked number 1 in the state of Tennessee for the number of associate's degrees awarded by a community college to minority students. And so when we look at the full story of Southwest, our economic impact, our placement rate for our graduates is 98%.
That's
with
awesome.
88% of those students actually being employed in their discipline. So we do pack a major punch economically in this area.
That's wonderful.
It is.
Which makes, it easier for the foundation to go ahead and raise more funds whenever they see such success stories as that.
And the school is high value. Having watching my son send grandsons to school, you can spend a lot of money on college or university, and I don't think there's any better value in Tennessee than Southwest and the University of Memphis if you want a 4-year degree, or Southwest just for their 2-year associate's degree.
That's right.
Now there's some big news. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
So we have some great faculty at Southwest, and our new dean, LaDonna Young, was just selected as a mindset scholar. We have a mentoring culture at Southwest, and she actually brought the high impact practice of mindset to our campus and worked with our student success team on developing a mentoring curriculum on academic mindset. But her high impact practice and innovation center is recognized across the state, and it is seen as a best practice model. So this is a really big deal for us to have.
Well, it's not happened before.
It hasn't
anywhere
happened before.
In Tennessee.
The first faculty member in the state of Tennessee to have such an honor. It's wonderful news.
Wow. Yeah. And so that's going to make a big difference because you already offer so many interesting curriculums of coursework. There's even a mortician course.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so we just had our unveiling of the new funeral service program, and it is the only publicly funded program in the state of Tennessee.
Right.
It will be administered on our Whitehaven campus, and it's actually slated to start in spring 2019. There were about 50 students who came to our open house. There is so much excitement surrounding this program, and we know that we're filling another need. Students are going to be able to get an Associate Applied Science degree and go into this field, and we know when families are grieving, when they need support, we need professionals that are in that arena to care for them. And so we're excited at Southwest about our funeral service education program.
Well, Ed, you said that you had personal stories to talk about student successes, I guess.
Well, yes. I won't give names,
right.
but we have two venues each year where students and the donors, the scholarship donors, can come together. They meet, mingle, and we dine. One's a luncheon for the book scholarship, and there's a holiday gala that's coming up for other scholarship winners and our recipients, not winners, but recipients. And it is just so touching to hear these kids, I call them kids, but many in their 40s, get up and say, if it hadn't been for this scholarship and this unit, this college, that I would have never been able to change my life the way it's changing. And as we talked about, their first generation, they're going back to school, they're graduating, going on for financial success, which transforms them and their families, their kids. It's just a major plus. It's a crown jewel for the city of Memphis.
Do you want to talk about the Edge and Women's Foundation and some of those? Brag a little bit?
Well, I think I'll let Jackie talk about that, yes.
Well, one of the things we are so proud of at Southwest is that our leader, Dr. Hall, is so great at building excellent partnerships with other institutions and organizations. So Southwest, along with the Economic Development Growth Engine, which is called EDGE, and the Women's Foundation, they actually came together to offer certificate programs in one of the highest poverty areas in Memphis. And we just had about 82 students graduate from that program.
From the poorest zip codes.
Poorest zip codes. And so dental assistants, certified nursing assistants, dialysis, EKG technicians, medical administrative assistants. So when you talk about workforce development, we are at the forefront of doing that. And then those support services that we have for the poorest students enrolled in our college, those are so important. And so those partnerships are just invaluable to us. We received a $300,000 grant, and EDGE chipped in $90,000, and so that was specifically
just chip that in
to support making sure that underserved populations have a better chance at life.
Don't you love that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So needed.
Absolutely.
So needed. Yeah, because we're back to talking about some of the first in their family.
That's right.
To have an opportunity to attend college and go for it, and they're going to need all the help and support that they can get.
Well, higher education is transformational, and when students can come get a quality, affordable education and truly leave without debt, it's a game changer for their future and for their generations that come after them.
Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes left, but I just wondered, in conclusion, if you had any thoughts, both.
Well, I would just say on behalf of the board, it's a pleasure to work with the faculty and staff of an institution like Southwest. It makes it easy to go out, and we call ourselves friend and fund raisers, not necessarily in that order. Sometimes we're more fund oriented, but it just is gratifying to be able to go talk to people about Southwest and its programs and how it's transforming people's lives.
Is that why you wanted to be part of it?
Yes, indeed. That is why I wanted to be part. It took me a little bit to discover that's what it was all about, because I'm accustomed to universities asking for something to build a football field, as I say, and now this institution, this college, is focused on success for the students, which means graduation and jobs and transformed lives.
Jackie?
I think for me, just to be a part of an organization that has a mission of student success at the core, an organization, an institution that truly cares about the diverse population that we serve, it makes me happy to get up every day and come to work and serve. For the second straight year, we've had increased enrollment, increased graduation rates and credentials of up to about 20%. We are now part of the Achieving the Dream network of 200 colleges focused on student success. And so when Dr. Hall said, I'm giving you a big, audacious goal to redesign, reinvent, and reset this college, so many people jumped in feet first to put their feet and their hands in and to do the work. Retention is up 54%, and we are focused on making sure students know we should be their choice, that we truly are a best choice for higher education.
Wow. Well, my hat's off to you both, Dr. Jacqueline Taylor and Mr. Ed over here, Lyons. They're both Memphis makers, and you knew that already. But if you need more information about any of the topics we've talked about here today, you can get it right here at your public library. We put the information on the screen for you to be able to contact Dr. Taylor and Mr. Lyons at the college if you have more questions for them specifically. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
You're watching the Library Channel, a broadcast service of the Memphis Public Libraries and the City of Memphis.
Love and happiness. Love and happiness. Oh. Love and happiness. Be good to me, and I'll be good to you. We'll be together, yeah, to see each other, walk away with victory, yeah.